Hello everybody and welcome back for episode 72 of our Terraria 1.2.3 Let's Play. I don't know if I'll say that every time, but wow, it's been a while. Hello. It is fantastic to be back. It's been a while, like a long while actually, and I haven't done any episodes of Terraria, and I wanted to tell you that this episode doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be doing them every day again, but I didn't want to just let it drift off into space. I love the Terraria series, one of my favorite series that I've done. And I just wanted to revisit the game for a little bit. Maybe we'll hang out for a while. We'll go check to see if perhaps we can go to the jungle and maybe farm up one of those axes, because it's an item that I've always wanted to get and never found. We could also potentially, if we catch the timing just right, we might go back and do the Frost Moon again, because, well, they changed how all of the stuff works on the last patch. So now my armor set may not have the same synergy that I remember it having back in the day, and I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. I have a feeling it's probably not the best thing, considering I've had a lot of people tell me it's going to ruin the game and all of that, but I guess we'll see. The other things that I wanted to do, and I don't know if this is going to be for this episode or for later ones moving on into the future, but I want to also perhaps go do a little bit of wandering. Oh, some decorative stuff already. Archaeologist hat. Alright, I've already had that, though. I want to maybe go see if I can find that sandstorm in a bottle. It's one of my many missions, and I've also got to go and raid some more of those lizard temples, because I need more energy cores, or whatever they're called, so I can go ahead and summon the golem. I think I remember saying on the last one that there were a bunch of things that changed with him that maybe makes him worth fighting some more, and also they just made him, like, worth fighting at all, because he's not super easy anymore. I haven't actually fought him since I've said all those things, so maybe I'm just talking, I suppose, but, you know, I do want to at least give it a try, so I have something to back that up. Also, while I'm here, maybe I want to grab some more green mineral, just since, you know, that never seems to run out of favor. There's always something that I can build with that stuff. So I don't know what got me exactly back into the mood to want to play some more Terraria. I guess maybe I was playing some Minecraft with Austin the other day, aka Last Grey Wolf, on stream, and sort of made me think, well, I really do enjoy my sandbox games, and I've got this beautiful world just jam-packed with stuff that I just haven't quite finished all of yet. And that's a thing about me in general. Like, I'm pretty much a completionist when it comes to games. You'd never know it, considering how many Let's Plays I've not finished. But when I play games to play them for realsies, I guess, well, not that I'm not playing it for realsies here, but when I play them off camera and I try and, like, do everything there is to do in them, well, that's just, like, one of my main focuses, is just I want to see everything that's in a game. And I know I've even said this in this series a whole bunch of times. So it frustrated me a little bit that I just haven't gone back to the series in a while. And I think part of that's been due to the fact that I've had so many other things coming and going in and out of my life at the same time. Oh, that's a mimic for sure. Oh, dropped a dual hook. Not a big deal to me anymore. But I've had, I did, after the Long Live the Queen debacle, which I never actually went and, you know, shored up and went to finish that whole thing, there was Crystal Catacombs. I did like 3 episodes of that. And the Our Darker Purpose, I also did a few episodes of that, or like 2 episodes of that. For whatever reason, they both seemed like they were going to be fantastic to Let's Play for a long time, and then like I got slightly into the series, and then I was like, well, I don't know if I'm enjoying this as much. And one thing that I've learned in general when it comes to YouTube is, like, don't force videos ever. You know, if you're not enjoying them, it doesn't help anyone out. And you guys have told me this too on occasion, because sometimes I sort of fall out of that school of thought, but I know this is the absolute, like, the most true prevailing concept that I could come up with as it pertains to how YouTube works. If you're having a bad time, nobody's going to be having a good time, or unless the point is that you're having a bad time, in which case that's, I guess, a different story. But I don't do videos like that, really. I'm not one of those, you know, masochore platformer gamers that just tries to be frustrated for fun. I mean, I prefer to have fun when I play games, and I think probably many of you do as well. Not to say that there isn't some, like, chaotic hilarity to be had from doing things like that. I just generally don't have that much fun when I do that, so I'll leave it to the people who are more experts in that respect. When I want to play a game, I want to have a good time. I want you guys to have a good time, and hopefully I want to have some entertaining or informative on occasion discussion. I generally well, I hope I do at least one or the other. Sometimes I might do none sometimes as well, but that's not preferable. So we're looking for these pink rosy flowers down here. I've seen them a bunch of times, the Plantera bulbs. I don't know where they're going to be every single time, so we've got to do this little dance, looking around for stuff, as if this is the first time we've been here. I don't know how difficult Plantera is going to be, but I doubt it will be very difficult at all, given that I've got basically all the best equipment in the game. I guess that's still up for debate, right, considering, well, the armors have all shifted around in terms of usefulness. Some people may have criticisms as it pertains to how I should probably be properly equipping my character, and that's fine. That's valid. You're totally within reason to recommend certain builds to me now, and especially I think after that patch I kind of want you to, and I will welcome your criticisms with open arms as long as they're gentle and not mean-spirited. You know, I'm totally open to having you suggest what would be a very good way for me to tackle something like the Frost Moon, and don't say multiplayer, because, well, not that you'd be wrong to say that that would be correct, I'm not going to do that on this series, but there is always the chance that maybe me and BizSnap will hang out again on that, because, you know, I actually did have, like, 3 Terraria series going at the same time for a short amount of time, if you count the grinding sessions as a series on its own, which you probably don't, so maybe 2. I saw that pink there, I got excited, I thought that was a Plantera bulb. It was not. Very happy I have this Godly Paladin's Hammer. This thing does some good work. The fact that it is super, super fast, hits super hard, and retracts really quickly. It's like I can just keep throwing this thing. I feel like freaking Thor. It's a great feeling. I'm so powerful. Yeah, Oh, I was going to say, did the Plantera bulb show up on the map, but then I remember the last patch wiped my map again, so I don't actually have a map anymore of this area, I don't believe. This is just, yeah, where I was. Alright, so that's really awkward. As you probably noticed, it just showed the, like, 2 spots on the map where the teleporters went to. So yeah, not exactly a natural means of progression as you go from one area to the next. But that's alright. I should probably keep an eye on the time, or, my perception of the time, just considering I want to maybe get back to do a Frost Moon, and just see quite how badly I get wrecked with this gear now. I'm not exactly expecting to be nearly as successful as I was on my last time through. And in fact, I'm not even sure if I have the right equipment at all. Another thing that I should probably consider doing is spending some time farming the Hell Boss, the Wall of Flesh, for a little while, and seeing if I can find some of the emblems and such, because I've got a whole bunch of one type of emblem, but I don't have all of them. And in order for me to make the proper stat boosting equipment, these suckers that you see here, what are they, the Menacing Destroyer emblem, the Destroyer, and the Avenger emblems, those require a whole set of those other emblems, and well, it's tempting. I kind of want to go ahead and like fill up most of my inventory with them, but it's going to take a little bit for me to do that. This is a nice cache of chlorophyte here, I like it. Don't seem to usually find it in chunks quite this big, so it's a welcome change. Not sure exactly what I'm farming it for, but I know bullets are a thing. Probably there's some other items I never built out of chlorophyte, because I was kind of in a hurry just to make the armor, and then I sort of moved on. So there's a chance that I might need for some of that stuff. Also, part of my mission for a little while, and it's still, I guess, sort of in the back of my mind as a mission, is to make all the stuff that I want to equip on those little dummies that you saw at the top of my house at the start of this episode, because if I can equip all of the dummies or the mannequins with that stuff, then, well, I'll just have a nice little museum, and then someday I will build something wonderful for all of those mannequins to sit inside of, like a, you know, its own little castle on a hill or some kind of mansion for them. You never know. It could be something cool. Might be dumb. Who knows? But for now, we'll just continue on working on the little incremental steps that lead up to that. So, what other stuff has been changing going on the channel? I guess we could sort of use this a little bit like an update video, although that wasn't exactly my intent when I started out. But, you know, that just kind of works when we're digging around in the dirt like this, like Peter Gabriel. So there was, I guess, a little bit of a snafu about this game, Goat Simulator. I don't know if this is a thing any of you really have found to be particularly controversial or anything, but after watching Ryan, aka Northern Lion's video on the game, like, I did one of my own, he did one of his own, and we just happened to both put them up at the same day, and we had pretty different impressions of the game, which is totally cool. Oh, we found a Plantera bulb, finally. And I love when we have differing opinions, because so many of the times when we have discussions, we have very, very similar opinions. So it's kind of cool to tease out exactly, like, where we differ on certain little points like that. And he seemed to think, or at least he was sort of referring to, or passing on the sentiment that a lot of people out there were saying that, you know, games like Goat Simulator might send the wrong message to indie devs, because there's going to be like some, you know, sort of clone type games, which I kind of don't doubt there probably will be, you know, that are trying to cash in on the success of what is essentially not a very substantive game. It's a game that's, at its heart, incredibly silly and lighthearted, and doesn't really offer much in terms of gameplay other than, like, here's some silly physics, let's bounce around. You're a goat, isn't that funny? And that's just sort of like the one-note joke, right? Like, you just keep hitting that note over and over again. And some people seem to react very badly to that. Like, it seemed to be very disturbing or, you know, obnoxious to them that that joke was around. And I hear that. That actually makes sense to me. I'm not, you know, blind to that argument at all. And I totally could even feel that way potentially as well. But I think the reason that I didn't feel that way when I was doing my video, because I actually was pretty favorable on it. Oh god, all my mana's gone already. That's really bad. I'm going to probably have to try and put my mana cuffs on if I haven't done that already. But yeah, I think the reason that I didn't feel so badly was just because I was just having such a good time. Oh, I forgot I have pauses. Yeah, alright, never mind. We can pause things, so it doesn't matter. I can take my time. But yeah, I was just having such a good time playing the game, I just didn't really think that hard about any of that stuff. Like, I didn't know there was a debate, that there was any, like, you know, conflicting opinions, or that people were really all, like, worried about it, or thinking that hard. And they're probably not, like, worried about it. It's probably not the right word to say. But it didn't strike me as a thing that would be controversial in the way that it apparently is. Alright, how am I doing? This fight is going not that well, but it's almost dead. Alright, we're gonna be fine. There we go. Dropped the Hornet gun, Wasp gun rather, and some healing potions and another temple key. Not like I need those ever again. So alright, that was not a mission successful. That was bad kitties, as we say. Not really bad kitties, but you know. Anyway, considering this whole goat simulator thing, I think the big point of contention that people were worried about, or had kind of sticking in their mind, was the fact that this game costs $10 and doesn't necessarily offer much beyond, like, that one little joke like I mentioned, as well as, you know, just silly physics interactions and, you know, some kind of wacky subversive humor on occasion. Like, you can turn into a demon goat by sacrificing dead bodies on an altar to Satan, which, you know, I find that very tongue-in-cheek and silly, and kind of, like, I don't really take any offense to that. But I imagine probably some people out there could. And I'm not saying that that's at the basis of their arguments either, but I just imagine that, like, if you're already on the fence about the game because of various other things, well, if it, like, bothers you for some sort of moral reason, well, that would also probably get on your nerves, too. Personally, I'm, like, not affected by any of that stuff, so it's kind of whatever. But anyway, I feel like the funny thing is, when I came into the thing, before I had played it at all, like, I didn't really do hardly any research on it. I had gone to do my sound check, and just kind of got engrossed in how dumb it was, like, just how silly and goofy the whole game was. I had no expectations, and I just found myself hooked on it, because all it was doing was bouncing around and being silly, and smashing into cars, and just trying to basically cause chaos. But what I knew of the game prior to it actually being released on Steam was that there was this thing called Goat Simulator, and I'm still not entirely sure if they're by the same developer, as I know Coffee Stain Studios did Goat Simulator, the Steam release, but there was also this other thing that at one point showed up, and I don't remember why or where or when exactly, but before I'd heard of what we now know as Goat Simulator, there was this thing, like a Unity game, where you would just, like, walk into a big open circle and pet a goat. Like, there was not even any physics to it. You would just see a goat model standing somewhere, and your player character could walk up and not even interact with it, but, like, your hand could intersect with the space that the goat occupies, and that was just kind of like, alright, this isn't really a thing at all. It would be a long stretch to even call that a game, in my opinion, and that's coming from somebody who does a lot of work with things that are not necessarily games at all. And I'm also pretty hesitant to even bring classifications out most of the time, because if you really want to break it down, I know this is probably a controversial thing to say, but I think at some form or level, you might be able to make an argument, and I'm not necessarily making this argument, but I could, if I was in the mood to be debatey, or debative, I don't think that's a word. If I was in the mood to debate, I could say that a video game could be classified as electronic media, which kind of branches off of some level of, like, performance art. And I'm not calling games performance art because it doesn't make any sense, but I'm just saying as a subclassification of, you know, one form of art to another, they sort of lead down this linear path. And I think there's probably a good reason to also say that there is a split somewhere in that path, and that games don't really fall in line with that most of the time. But I also play a lot of games that I feel like kind of do fall in line with that. I think the gaming populace at large, though, tends to get mired in this other world where it's like, because we were raised with this certain concept of what games are supposed to be like, we've distanced them from being somewhere near the concept of art. And I kind of want to bring us back to that concept, to at least discuss that a little bit in my channel in general. I'm not saying right now, but I am kind of doing that also. But I just think that's a really cool thing to re-examine the fundamental assertions that people make about something categorically. Like, the concept of a thing and its existence and classifications should never necessarily be completely set in stone, because as a populace, we're always learning things, we're always evolving and changing our understanding of the world around us, and as our technology changes and increases and, you know, becomes exponentially more immersive and just kind of incredible in a whole variety of ways. I mean, look at the Oculus Rift. That's a thing that's going to happen in our lifetime. We're going to have consumer-level VR electronics, and there's going to be a whole bunch of it all at the same time, considering several different companies are all working on their own versions. And I just think that's pretty wild. When I was a little kid, I'm talking like early 90s, I went to Disney World. I think that's where I saw it. It may have been somewhere else. It may have been Six Flags, actually. But there was an arcade in wherever it was that I was. And somebody was showing off their very early VR tech, back when, like, just having 3D graphics at all were a big deal. So this was, like, a crazy freaking huge thing you'd put over your face, and it was heavy. And you also had, I think you wore a vest and then stood inside of a sensor circle. And the point of the sensor circle was just obviously to, like, react with the vest and, you know, find out your location, then report that back to the game. And it was really janky. Like, it was the most janky that I think I've ever hardly seen some sort of electronic, you know, interactive media. Basically, everything you did in the game felt like you were looking at a distant dream. And it's a very confusing thing to even put into words, because I think having done this so long ago, for one, and also not really known what I know now about electronics, like, I don't really know exactly what made it be the way it was, but it almost seemed like we were looking at, like, a faded memory as I was sitting there trying to interact with this. Oh, I forgot I took my boots off. That's why I'm so slow. But it was a really interesting thing to see, and at that point in my life, I was not necessarily well-versed in all of the things that were going to be the trajectory of technology going forward, so I really didn't understand, like, where I was in the timeline then, and quite how far ahead things seemed to be at that point in my life. So it's exciting to me to see that that's now going to be a thing that's not a big deal anymore, and could potentially have all sorts of different applications, whether that be in, you know, video games properly as we understand them, art in any format that you'd like to describe, practical uses, which I'm not even 100% sure where I want to take that idea, but, you know, there are, I'm sure, plenty of examples that we could come up with if we rack our brains a little bit. And then, of course, like, ARG type stuff. I mean, I know Google Glasses were a thing, and I always feel weird when I say Google Glasses. I feel like I'm doing some Google Glasses, like I'm saying some kind of weird accent when I do that. But I just think that's a really neat thing that we now, like, that's not even VR, but it's like an augmented UI for your reality. It worries me a little, too, because I am aware, like, to what degree we've now sort of separated ourselves from our understanding of the world, because we live in this internet bubble now. And I know a lot of people think that's totally cool, and in some ways I also think it's totally cool, but there's also some parts of it that are a little bit scary, because we just kind of, like, don't look at each other some of the time. Like, I heard this fact, or what I had heard to be a fact. I should probably have checked this before I'm now reporting it incorrectly, but as somebody told me, like, there was a large percentage of people, and I don't want to say the percentage anymore because I don't even remember what it was, but it was like larger than 10% of people immediately check their phone after sex. And some people check it during sex. And I was like, what is that about? Like, this is a point in our lives where we need to maybe reevaluate a little bit of, like, how we got to this point. And I am super pro-technology. I'm pro-transhumanism even. But that's a line where it's like, all right, how are you going to have, like, an intimate moment with someone you care about if you're just worried about what's going on in the world around you? That seems weird to me. Oh, is this a new item? I don't recall seeing this before. What can I drop? Vine mud blocks. Let's drop some mud blocks. If anybody has the actual proper number that... Yeah, that's totally a new item. the proper number to the stat that I was trying to cite there, which, again, my apologies for not having that properly sorted out before I actually went in and investigated. Oh, this is a cool flail, isn't it? Seems to shoot spikes. But yeah, feel free to post them is what I was trying to say. I would like to see the actual information, or I could probably find it myself and post it in the comments. Either way, either or. Chances are, though, this is going to get posted while I'm at PAX, so unless I have a way to do that before, I guess I could do it in the upload. Anyway, this is too meta for real life. That's another thing, too. I'm getting ready to go to PAX very soon. I'm recording this on Monday, the Monday before PAX. This is a big deal for me. This is going to be pretty much the highlight of my year, getting out and getting to see all my friends. We're going to hang out. We're going to drink some beers. We're going to meet a whole bunch of indie developers, have a good time. I haven't really made any appointments. I'm trying to take this pretty casually. Last year was pretty serial, super serial, in fact, and I say that totally tongue-in-cheek. By the way, I don't actually say things are super serial in my real life, but we had a really fun time last year. We did it very, professionally in that we were pretty much going to appointments the whole time we were there, which was cool and which was fun and which was really good for meeting people, but it also was kind of stressful too because we had to be somewhere all the time. And we couldn't really hang out and just shoot the shit with people if we felt like it. That wasn't really a thing that happened too often, although we did have some fun dinners and such. So I'm looking forward very much to meeting everybody that I haven't really had time or had an ability to go hang out with IRL. Pretty much everybody in the larger circle of my friends is going to be there, with a few exceptions. So like Biznap, Bear Taffy, Last Grey Wolf, Alpaca Patrol, I'm referring to them, of course, all by their internet pseudonyms, but of course I know their actual names, which is going to be really awkward because I'm pretty sure it's going to happen like once or twice that I accidentally call them like their internet name instead of their real name because I just have a brain fart or something, and I'm just going to roll around in agony on the ground with how much my gut hurts from laughing at how dumb I am. Anyway, I'm starting to think maybe we should have headed back a while ago because I just sort of found myself in this Goat Simulator and Oculus Rift talk, and then a whole bunch of time went by, and I don't even know what time it is outside anymore. I'm not wearing a watch in the game or wearing some kind of something like I could use to get perspective there, but I just want to go get to the teleporter, and then we'll go investigate. If it's too late, it's too late. That's going to be that, but, oh god, where even am I? I'm, like, lost in this tiny little area. Okay, I need to go back down one and then up the next one over. It's been a while. It's weird how quickly, too, that you fall out of favor with your understanding of the landscape that you walk around in this game. Like, because it's so versatile and so variable, every time you play this game, it's being procedurally generated the first time you see it, and then you lose your map once, and then you don't play it for a month, and then all of a sudden everything almost seems foreign again. Even the controls felt a little confusing to me. Oh, yeah, we totally missed it. Well, I'm pretty sure anyway. The moon looks like it's halfway across the sky now. The Skynet. Let's go look at the clock over here, because I still do have my little arena. And we'll see what this says. It's, oh, 1 in the morning. Okay, so we're not anywhere near it. But at least we did find one new item. I totally didn't expect that to happen. I should have probably looked again at the wiki before I actually started up on today's episode. I'm just like a mess today. Everything I'm doing is unprepared. And I hope you can forgive me. I'm just a silly guy, and I don't know what I'm doing. I know a little bit of what I'm doing some of the time. Maybe not today in Terraria. Man, I filled up my whole inventory again. How did that happen? I was just talking aimlessly, wandering, and before you know it, inventory's full. I really wish that they would have added some kind of thing that's like, double your inventory space. Like, you have to be at the end of the game and kill some kind of crazy boss. Maybe that should be the reward if you kill the skull dude that guards the dungeon. Like, because I know that's basically one-shot kills always, right? Because he does, like, 9,999 million, whatever the most amount of damage something can do, it does. Also, I am aware that whatever I just said was not an actual number. But he does the most damage that he can do. And it would be neat if they rewarded you with something. Well, I guess they do actually reward you with something, but it's not something that's like game-changing as far as I remember. It's like, I think it's a skull familiar that follows you around. And that is also on my list of things that I still want to do in Terraria. But, you know, not today, I suppose. What do we say to death? Not today. So I guess I'm going to be putting away all my inventory items again for a while. We got 47 gold and a new flail out of all of this, but we didn't do the Frost Moon. So I would say this is mission 17% successful. I know you want me to say it's like 69. Oh, let's say it's 69% unsuccessful. I guess that's another way to look at it, which actually puts me substantially higher on my success number that is completely arbitrary, and the points don't matter anyway, but who cares, whatever. It's silly. I guess that's kind of the pervasive message throughout today's episode. Who cares, whatever, it's silly. The Goat Simulator motto or ethos or creed, whatever you want to say. So we'll wrap things up at this point. Again, not super substantive in what we actually accomplished in the game, but maybe we just use it as a backdrop to have a little discussion. I like doing that on occasion, too. And maybe, if you're still into watching Terraria, and I know this was one of my most successful Let's Play series, and it hurt me to not go back to it as often, but I was getting a little bit jaded for a minute, and I didn't want to get negative on the game because I absolutely love Terraria, and there is no actual negativity coming at it from me, aside from just the stupid little quibbles of like, hey, I wish they didn't screw my armor up, or whatever. That's not really a real criticism. That's just like, I'm frustrated, but it's not within my control or within my right to be frustrated about. The developers changing the game that they themselves created. That's totally within their realm of things that they can do. But if you're still into Terraria, if you are a returning viewer and have watched the series prior, and are excited to see this, please say something, because if you are very excited, maybe when I get back from PAX, then I will record like 5 of these in a row, because I just want to talk randomly, because, you know, I get in that mood sometimes. I just want to have rants, and this is a really good place to do that. So I've been doing it in Spelunky a little bit too, but I need to concentrate a lot more in Spelunky, so it's not quite as conducive to good discussion. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. Thank you again for watching, and for your continued support on the series. If you're still into it, leave a like. It does help me out a lot. Of course, if you feel I deserve it. If you hated the series, don't worry about it, I guess. Just be nice, I guess. If you hated the series, that's totally cool. I respect that opinion. But what are you doing watching it, I guess, is kind of the more apt thing to say. Anyway, I will see you next time for the third outro. Have a lovely night. Talk to you later.